He's very persistent. He's very opportunistic. He is unconstrained. He can move easily from one network, one zone to the other zone. He has agility. Where they share information very actively. So from our perspective for this presentation, I think it's important to look at defending a network or defending an enterprise is attacking in reverse. So how can we defend our organizations and understand? The first thing starts for understanding where your crown jewels are. Because a lot of times we don't know what our crown jewels are. If somebody can read Russian, I'm sure we have some Russian graduates here, something written down in Russian. You can see me after the presentation. But if you have something like this sort, how are you going to know where your crown jewels are? The critical part are the crown jewels in your suppliers network. Are scattered all over the place. So modern defense in terms of how a nation builds their cybersecurity, cyber resilience, competency, and capabilities is based on the determination, the actual data, the knowledge-based team, and money is at the end. Normally, if we would start that, we would put money on top. But until and unless you have a determination, data, knowledge base, and a team, having money itself will not get you anywhere. The other part is the drill. Having an active drill exercise. This is an area that really scares me in this part of the world. With drills and acting not regularly happening. The plan is there, but there is no execution. So, identify access management privileges, crown jewel protection program, aggressive decommissioning of old systems. That is another area that we lack tremendously because we like to continue to use what we have bought. But aggressive decommissioning of old systems is very important. Security monitoring and incident response. SaaS, adaptation, strategic adaptation to complex in-house system. Rather than moving in this direction, we have started backtracking. A lot of organizations have started doing their own software development. The endpoint visibility in the internal network, a very hot topic that everybody talks about. You have to have internal visibility. Cyber drills, vulnerability and patch management. Very simple, right? You guys have been doing this every day. So for distant users, deciding what is worth protecting, your risk tolerance, your risk universe, outsourcing of services that isn't the risk transfer, don't hide from your own security. You have to understand that you're from the same team. Now this is very rapid in this part of the world. We try to hide everything from the security people. First, we are not in a position to actually detect whether the attack has happened or not. Let alone protect, let alone respond, let alone recover. And keep asking, how do I or you know about these things? And consider that some controls may fail. You know, hacks can happen. This is an important slide. This is actually my best slide. The first stage with every company goes, you start in a denial phase. You will deny totally that anything happened. You will continue to deny it in the past 15 years. We've actively moved into the phase, I meet the same person, he will deny. Nothing has happened to our network. Some have moved a little bit further. They started worrying. Right? They start worrying about it and say, okay, something has gone wrong here. What can we do to correct it? Some have moved away from there as well, but they have developed a false confidence. we are guarded by Palo Alto networks, Palo Alto machines, having specialized application, one of the best systems in the world, which is yet to be hacked. Or we have a third-party assurance from the system, a false confidence. Hard lessons, you get robbed, or you get hacked, your money is transferred, somebody sees everything from you. Hard lesson. In a lot of other parts of the world, you can get fired, but here we take it as a learning lesson and we move on. And the part when true leadership comes is when you start sharing your failure stories rather than your success stories. How did we fail? What was the problem that we discovered? How can we correct it? Active sharing of information as the average. So for you guys, for you folks, the hard lessons, it's very important to have a cool mind. Start having a cool mind. Second, build the partnership you need across border ecosystem. If you analyze different kind of attacks, they're not financial attacks. Some of the attacks that are coming to the financial industry are coming from different submarine kind of attacks, especially the attacks that go on electric grid. Agility matters. You have to be agile because things keep changing. And we need to challenge ourselves. We need to ask how we really challenge ourselves. Are we prepared to hold up mirror to ourselves and see, are we doing better? Are we doing worse? Are we exactly where we are? So that's pretty much my presentation for today. You know the enemy and yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself and not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. And if you neither know your enemy nor yourself, you will suffer in every battle. This is coming from a great philosopher, Sun Tzu, from mainland China, who talks about the art of war. Thank you very much.
Our next presentation, I would like to request. So, Mr. Director General, DOIT Nepal Government, Mr. Lakshmi Prasad Yadav has been arrived here. So I would like to request him to take seat. On DDoS attack landscape worldwide and Nepal by Jeremy Lee, Vice President, Sales Nexusguard. Please welcome Jeremy.
For more trips over here. As I'm coming here, actually, I'm going to share with you a little bit about the DDoS attack landscape. And later on, my colleague Dolly from the products will come in to talk about the CSPs and the new breed of DDoS attacks that we've been seeing around the world in recent times. And maybe allow me to go through the DDoS escape landscape worldwide right now. So a little bit about myself. I'm actually based out of Singapore, and my job nature involves me traveling around many parts of the world, Asia, Africa, Middle East, the US, and I've been working with a lot of the governments all over the region in regards to their cybersecurity concerns, and also in the area of cyber defense. Right? I was moving from the career of endpoint protection to advanced threat detection, and recently into DDoS, which is actually a very front-end kind of attack on the corporate and enterprises. And right now, let me just go through a little bit about Nexusguard now. We've been around for the past 10 years, and the company does nothing except for DDoS protection only, and we're very specialized in what we do. And around the world, we actually have quite a lot of awards from we have quite a lot of awards from the different sectors in the cybersecurity space, from Frost and Sullivan to Forrester Information Awards. And besides the technology part of it, the technology alone is just one piece of the equation of building a successful cybersecurity company. It also involves a really huge infrastructure because we need that infrastructure to absorb all kinds of attack that's coming into our customers' platforms. And last but not the least is the 24/7 operations center, which I will elaborate a little bit more later on. Actually, that is a secret ingredient for building a successful cybersecurity defense sort of partnership. And why I say that is because earlier and later on after this, we have a panel discussion on building a cybersecurity playbook. It's all about building a framework and a mindset about whatever you have will fail eventually, and therefore this operation center is built around that as a core, and we are prepared with ourselves and also our partners and our customers that in case that their infrastructure and network goes down, the team is there to help them to respond and get back on their feet faster. So basically, this is the sort of the secret of the whole infrastructure and the success. Around the world, we have multiple global scrubbings worldwide. The yellow one is the one that we built ourselves. The sort of the dark gray one is actually in partnership with our partners, so they will actually also build the POPs over there. As I mentioned, in order to build a defense, not only the technology, but also this global network to actually absorb all the attacks that's actually coming into the customers and partners environment. Later on, I'll be touching a little bit on what is this kind of attacks, because cybersecurity is actually a very huge field, and DDoS is just one small part of it. So a little bit of DDoS landscape. So let me give a very quick snapshot. I think all of you are experts here, but just for the benefit of doubt, let me just give a very quick overview on what the topic that we are talking about today. For the normal user, there's actually accessing the website under the normal time. But when the attacker wants to bring so this is one of the patterns that we see. And the attack type, I'm going to elaborate a little bit about this particular attack. Memcache is one kind of attack where they can use one code, one string, and this particular thing that goes out can magnify up to 51,000 times. So for example, it's just as simple as if I click a button to refresh the web page one time, by doing this one action, this particular script of attack can become 51,000 clicks. So by using one small bullet, it amplifies by 51,000 times. If you want to study the science behind it, or rather the code behind it, you can Google on the internet. They will tell you all the techniques and how this actually works and how to launch this kind of attacks. But this shows that it's very easy and cheap, nowadays to launch this kind of attack. So basically, this is why the attack volume and size goes up significantly. And then the IoT kind of attacks start to skyrocket. And now the recent kind of attack is the attackers, because as the attack happens, the service providers, the security vendors themselves start to respond to their threats, their techniques. So the attackers, they will change their techniques. So over time, the latest one they receive is usually in the past one huge volume of attack comes in, But in the latest 2018 and Q3, they have a very interesting way of attacking, which later my product director Donnie will explain. It's called beat and piece attack. So it's like a guerrilla attack until you don't know where the attack is coming from. It's very interesting. I wouldn't steal his technical explanation on that, but you can see the evolving and the size of attacks actually changing over time. The attack source also start to change. So in the past, we are all talking about PCs, computers being used to launch attack, but nowadays, because everybody's using mobile phone, so you start to see Android, iPhone, BlackBerry, which is very few, having 60% of the attacks. So during the exhibition 2 months back in Singapore, we had this launch, and we are actually showing for the first time, because this is the statistics that we actually measure through our database. Those who believe that iPhone and iPad are very safe are actually wrong, because 21% of the mobile devices attack actually come from iPhone. 21%. So which means if the iPhone is attacking somebody, to do that, the hacker needs to hack into the iPhone, control it before this one can become a tool for them to launch an attack. So basically, a lot of the devices have also been compromised for those who are carrying iPhones or Android or both. So there's nothing safe really in today's IT world. And just a little bit sidetrack. I used to be selling or promoting advanced persistent threat kind of technology for an American firm. And some of the tools and techniques that they claim they can protect says that whatever advanced zero-day attacks they can detect and they can prevent. Until recently, they start to get into some cyber offense kind of companies that specialize in dealings for the governments or the military. Then they realize that actually a lot of the tools that they use to generate zero-day attacks are so advanced that even these kind of advanced tools also cannot detect. So actually, that's why we're coming to the later part of the forum about how do you then build up your cyber defense posture based on you will be taken down kind of mindset, and then when you build the framework, you'll be more robust. A little bit about the internet usage here. So from the rapid rise of internet users from 2000 to 2019 actually is quite phenomenal. So I think from the start, we have 35,000, but right now, 18 million internet users. So you have your various ISPs here. And right now, for the fixed broadband, we have 12.3%, and mobile is 40%. So this is the statistics for over here. Maybe you guys take a look and see whether does this resonate with what you guys, because a lot of the industry people are here, right? So does this look accurate to you on the internet and the Wi-Fi and the mobile data penetration rate? But this statistics is actually taken from Nepal Telecom Authority, right? The report, which is in May of 2019. So 40% for mobile broadband, and the total countrywide 61% penetration. So actually the growth of the internet users is tremendous. Right? So why I'm showing this is because when it comes to internet usage, internet users, right now, as the IoT devices actually increases significantly, and the internet users goes up significantly, is a big cooking pot of a lot of ingredient inside. And with the right conditions, somebody wants to launch this kind of attack. It is actually a very delicious place, right, to make use of all these tools available. The number of consumers out there they have, the number of phones, the number of connections you have. So right now you do not see that trend coming, but actually it's a big melting pot of ingredients waiting for things to happen. In terms of mobile malware infection, we have a studies of different countries' percentages. Like right now, I think Bangladesh stands at the highest infected, 31%. I'm not sure why. China, maybe because the population is high, so 31%. Or maybe because they're downloading a lot of movies, stuff on the phone. Iran, 30%, maybe somebody wants to get into their phones for all you know. But for Nepal, it's at number 4 right now, 30.74%. Ahead of Nigeria, India, Indonesia. And as I mentioned earlier, right, mobile phone is a huge source of attack. So right now we can see the statistics wise, a lot of the mobile users in Nepal have been infected. Maybe you can do a mobile phone scan later through one of your slides to see whether any infection is over there. When I go to Philippines, right, a lot of the mobile phone attackers are not from hackers. Usually it's from their girlfriend or their wife. I'm not I'm not sure why you got such a high attack rate here, but they say, oh, the biggest hacker is actually my wife. She so cybersecurity in Nepal, we have like 800 cyber crimes occurred here. So this statistic actually come from Global Cybersecurity Summit 2018, and that includes social media, piracy, identity threat, website hacking, and so on and so forth. And a lot of the attacks actually in the forefront, they might use DDoS as a smoke screen to launch other attacks into the company. So when they bring down your servers, everybody's, the boss will be saying, how come I cannot access my email, how come I can access my website? You get a lot of stress, then you deploy all your resources to get your network up. By the time you are busy trying to get the network up, that's where the cyber crime or the hackers can come in to do other things to bring down your network. I mean, put in malware and stuff like that. So this is one of the smoke stages. So right now, I will pass on to Donnie to talk about a little bit more technical. Hopefully that will excite you more because I believe a lot of people here are really technical. But later on after this, we want to talk about what experiences I've been seeing in other countries, what kind of attacks that other nation states are facing. You can just catch me along the networking session after this event. Right. So thank you everybody. I'll pass on to Don to continue.
Hi, good evening. I think you have it on the table. If you want to bring it up, just want to ask, do you all know what that is? Can you make a guess who knows what that thing is? I mean, if you have not really read, okay, where your systems get infiltrated, it's not via, surprisingly, it's not via hackers. Okay, it's not the number one cause of infiltration. Mr. Bibi can actually verify that. It's not through clicking on emails, phishing. That's one very high risk. A lot of this is really from local employees plugging in their thumb drive. Plugging their phones to immediately want to charge the HUD from your notebook or from your computer using the USB to charge it. So basically, what this does is, okay, you put it between the computer and the handphone. So it only uses a 2-pin responsible for the power. So there's no data transfer. So it protects your computer. That's why, hence the link again. So it protects your computer. That's why, hence the link again. Anyways, just to in case you like plug it into your computer thinking it's a thumb drive. Okay, so allow me to make an introduction of myself. So my name is Donnie, so I head the product and marketing department. I've been in the company for a very long time. My role is to lead the product department to develop solutions, products that different. I can actually share how we actually help with service providers such as yourself to deliver products of value, especially in today's time where I work for a very long time, so I've dealt with a lot of customers. My current role is to lead the product department to develop solutions, products that different verticals would need, including enterprise, including service providers. In the last 2 years, we are focusing very heavily on service providers. I can actually share how we actually help with service providers such as yourself, a lot of you are in the audience, to deliver products of value, especially in today's time where, like what we say, cybersecurity is on the top concern. So I'm sure Jeremy has shared, okay, in terms of DDoS attacks, okay, it has grown tremendously in terms of complexity. So I don't have to spend time talking about how common it is, how big the attacks can be, how complex and stuff like that, how smart the hackers can be or getting. They are always very smart. So DDoS is something that is already a way of life. In fact, today as we speak, Hong Kong, where I also work at, Hong Kong airport is now being DDoS by humans. If you Google and you search Hong Kong International Airport, okay, image, you see that the whole airport is now jammed. So when you are a proper commuter trying to get to your check-in gate, you are DDoS. You cannot get to your gate because it's all filled with people. So this is just like the like protests and demonstrations. DDoS is one of the most common tools nowadays. DDoS in the past 10 years. How DDoS has evolved. And right now, what are the newer things that we are seeing in terms of the market? So before that, we look at the infrastructure, we look at the resources, we look at the environment around us. Okay, 5G is coming in. Okay, with 5G coming in, you get about 20 Gbps per device. With that kind of a bandwidth size, computing power. Your ARM8 or ARM9 or ARM13 processors can generate a lot of packets. I lost count of how powerful a mobile device can be. It's more powerful than a computer nowadays in some cases. Okay? A lot of applications to run during the old days with your PC now you can run on your mobile phones, you can run virtual machines even. So with that, okay, there are now more contents on the internet. That's also one of the drive for upgrading our infrastructure. So we're talking about 100G ports being more and more commonplace. Okay, we're talking about a high throughput. In general, okay, the whole ecosystem. There are more devices. We mentioned there's now more devices on the internet. Gartner predicts there's going to be more than 20 billion devices on the internet by end of 2020. Now I think the forecast is even higher than that. So what this means is, attacks is going to be larger. Okay, it's going to break the terrorist per second. Terrorist per second attacks are very rare now. They are the very, very rare kind of attacks that don't really happen to anybody. It's too much of a overkill. But in time to come, it will become very, very common. But I'm not going to talk about the size and the how big an attack is, because to us, okay, to most of the providers and to most of the enterprise, okay, you have what, 50 meg connectivity, 100 meg, some large connections, maybe a 1 gig attack. Why are we talking about terabit-based attack? You just send me, for example, I'm an enterprise that run a 100 meg pipe. You just send me a 200 meg pipe and I'm done. So why do I care about large attacks? Okay. And that's exactly what attackers is seeking as well. So the attackers are very, very smart. Okay, so that's why there's the rise of what we call a bit and piece attack. And these attacks, the eventual target is still enterprise. Okay, it's still the business owners and everything. But they crop the attack in such a way that the service provider, being yourself, ISPs, telco, okay, data centers, providing connectivity, they are the ones that's going to be suffering because I'll tell you why. So in a typical DDoS attack, so in the typical DDoS attack, okay, this is before. So I'll kind of like visualize it. So you have a range of IP addresses. So let's say IP7 is running a website, okay, a forum. And in Hong Kong, they will be talking about how good the government is and everything. So this forum on this IP7, and they have a lot of people that doesn't agree with him. So they will send a lot of traffic, okay, directed at IP7. So this server will see a lot of load, okay, and he will go down. And as a service provider, so let's say you are providing this pipe, and you see that, hey, this IP7's traffic is filling up my pipe, it's causing congestion to all my other customers. So what do? I unplug him, I blackboard him, I take him off, okay, because he's a lousy customer, right? So I take him off. So this is what really looks like in a normal DDoS attack in the past. What a big and piece attack is now has evolved. The attackers are very smart. I don't need to. If I hit him too hard, if he knows I'm hitting that person, he just take it offline. Yeah, and there's nothing I can do already. So what happens in the big and piece attack is now the target is still IP7, but because I know he's using a ISP line, the pipe is only 100 meg, for example. Instead of throwing all my traffic onto IP7, I now distribute across the entire range, 254 IP addresses. I throw 10 meg each. Okay? Now, the ISP, now being you are caught in the middle. So you see traffic, usually it's about 5-6 meg. Now it's 10 meg. Maybe he's having a high traffic day across 200 customers. So who is being attacked now? What happens is 254 IP address, 55 IP addresses times 10 meg. That's enough to saturate your pipe. Your pipe goes down. You don't know what to do because you don't know which IP is being attacked. You can't possibly backfill the entire 254 customers. I think your customer service manager will come and shout at you because they're going to receive a lot of complaints. So basically, this is what we see in what we call a BNP's attack. In a real-world situation, okay, we are hearing a lot of service providers having exactly the same thing. They used to have appliances, deployed in their premises to detect. It can be a flow analysis, it can be a third party off the shelf, it can be a script that they run to monitor their traffic. Now they can't tell because the attacks are so small, 30, 40 meg, 50 meg. They can't even tell which are the ones. So this attack, although the eventual target is the end customer, okay, the CSPs, what we call the communication service providers, which is data centers, ISP, telcos, these are the people that are going to be caught in between. That's where you are. So this is the kind of thing that has become more and more common since 2018 last year. Okay, we released a few reports based on that already. If you're interested, okay, feel free to go and download and read a bit more about this. The bad thing, so this is technically what it looks like. So you see over here, basically, right now the BNP's attacks are now still on the layer 3, layer 4, SSDP, DNS, NTP, flood attacks type, UDP floods, so on and so forth. It's really layer 3, layer 4. Okay, what they haven't done, which is touch wood, I mean, eventually what will happen is if they do this on the application layer attack, it's going to be even much more serious. Because on the layer 3, layer 4, there's still a lot of tricks you can do on the CSP level, with our service as well. But when it gets to layer 7, it's going to be much, much more difficult. So basically what happens is over here, in the classic DDoS attack, you attack on 1 to 3 IP addresses. Duration is not an issue here. So the attack can range up to a few hundred gigs of attacks. But in the BNP's attack, it attacks up to 250 in our records we see. The single attack, they attack 252 IPs in the range. Okay, up to 2.5 max. How can you tell difference based on just statistical analysis? How can you tell whether 5 meg is an attack or not? So that's going to be the challenge here. So of course, once you accumulate it, right, okay, it still can be very significant. So it doesn't have to be a big attack. Attack has to be smart. Okay, because attack when crafted carefully can be very devastating. Okay, and that's going to be coming from an attacker that is, is paid to attack and bring you down, and that's what's going to happen, when they are paid. So this presents, I just try to classify what I've just mentioned into 3 forms of challenges for service providers. First of all, okay, you are unable to profile your attackers and your customers because everybody looks the same now. Okay, in order for you to be able to solve this kind of issues, you need to be able to profile your customers up to very individual level, into very microscopic level, up to services, maybe up to ports, up to IP level. If your customers belong to the kind of critical services where you cannot afford to go down, are you in a position to be able to do that for your customers right now? Okay, that's a question you might want to ask. Is it going to be my product portfolio? Is this the kind of services that I need to be able to deliver to my customer? So these are some of the answers you have to answer. Detection, okay? Before talking about being able to profile them, are you able to detect an attack when it happens? Purely based on statistical analysis, threshold, monitoring and anomalies, comparing before and after, how many variations will not work here now. Because the variations that I mentioned earlier and demonstrated can be very, very small. So it's impossible for you to detect. Okay? So do you have the capabilities, detection, okay, to do that? Okay? Do you have a third-party vendor to work with? These are the questions you have to ask. And last but not least, the response. Without these 2 capabilities, you'll not be able to respond to your customers. Okay? And then you'll fail, ultimately, your SLA. When SLA is out of the window, that's where all the things will come in. It becomes like a hard lesson. That's a hard lesson that becomes maybe in a false confidence stage, depends on where you are. So even from our side, as a technologist, even as a principal in this diversification, okay, just want to share what on our side we are doing. So you see our shopping centers that we have, that Jeremy has showed. We have about 15 locations around the world. Even that has to evolve. Okay, so Nexusguard is now moving towards working with partners to create what we call edge shopping centers, so that we can bring these shoppings as close to the customer as possible. In the past, if you look at our strong centers, it's all situated closer to the source of attacks. Okay, but as we go into this future generation of DDoS and this kind of advanced persistent attacks, we want to be able to build a satellite, very agile, edge controlling centers that we work with our partners. And this is one of the main reasons why Jeremy and I have been touring the Asian countries in recent times. So you see that when we are able to create multiple edge controlling centers put together in a very large ecosystem, okay, as close to the customer as possible, then you can deliver performance in terms of operations and then finally in terms of security. And of course, last but not least, in order for us to be, for one, to be able to deploy security services, not just DDoS, okay, it can be any cybersecurity service, but in this particular aspect, the DDoS service, you have to be able to make your services elastic, scalable, easy to use, and last but not least, be able to be backed by real intelligence. Okay, we are in a world whereby just plain old scripts and thresholds will not work. You really need something that be able to provide you real-time updates and intelligence. You have the capability to do that. Okay, if not, that's really what Nexusguard is here to do. So a few key takeaways is to summarize what Jeremy has added on as well. Mobile-based attacks, IoT attacks. Okay, attacks from these sources will continue to grow. You will continue to buy more and more devices. You'll start to carry 1, 2, or 3 iPhones, one for your girlfriend, one for your whatever. So you continue to have more and more devices, and then you have more and more appliances in the house that will have internet connectivity. And you will still, and one thing for sure, majority of y'all will forget to change the password. Okay, it's going to be password. What's the password? Password. Admin, password. Things like that. You'll never change your password. If you raise your hand through concierge, you change your password. I don't even change my password sometimes, so yeah. But you do. Yeah, of course, yeah. Okay, so anyway, so with this, okay, if we talk as service providers, okay, in the previous times where we think, I actually spoke to some of the partners in Nepal where cybersecurity is a customer's concern. Okay, we just deliver a pipe, right? This is our core business. But if we ever continue to go along that route, we will just only fall out of business because we are no longer trendy. If you look at the service providers out there in the market, most of them have now evolved. They are now moving up the stack. They used to be layer 2 companies, they are doing layer 3, layer 4. Layer 3, layer 4 companies that are now moving into managed services. Okay, a lot of partners that we work with are building on their capabilities to provide not just connectivity. Now they provide cybersecurity services. Because without cybersecurity services, they cannot get into key accounts. What kind of key accounts? Government sectors, military. When they buy services from you, if you do not come with basic cybersecurity capabilities, you are not going to be able to serve them. Okay, and that's how we're here to help. Of course, strong centers. So at this point in time, I realized that we have not covered what kind of services that we carry. So I'm just going to, without a slide, briefly, for the benefit of later conversation, go over what we do. So Nexusguard, although having been in the business for 10 years, we are not an appliance provider. Okay, we are a pure cloud business. So basically what we provide are 2 classifications of services. Protection for enterprise customers. And then we work with CSPs, service providers, to deliver cybersecurity services to their customers. The first part, so we have what we call the 3 pillars of services. I think it's already inside a brochure. So we have the application layer protection, we have origin protection, and we have DNS protection. These are the 3 facades of every entity's exposure to the internet. So every business that is on the internet, their website will be on that. Their network infrastructure, if they have one, will be exposed. Their routers, firewalls, load balancers will be exposed to the internet. And last but not least is the DNS service. So Nexusguard presents ourselves as a layer in front of all your assets, so that all the attacks will come through us, and then after filtering all the attacks, we pass it to you. That's our service for the enterprise customers. What we have focused on doing for the past 2 or 3 years, okay, is taking what we have learned over the 10 years, okay, building our own strong centers, okay, running our own core proprietary technology, is to package it up into a people process technology platform, and then we deliver and impart to our partners. So for example, in Singapore, we work with one of the state largest ISP. before they were able to provide any cybersecurity services in terms of clean pipe, DDoS mitigation services, what we do is we ship our entire stack of technology into the data center, okay, cooperate with them, we transfer the knowledge to them, we build up their SOC and operate in back-to-back in support of their SOC to deliver their own version, their own flavor of cybersecurity services to their customers. So these are the two classifications of services that we are more now engaged in. So if your organization has has a plan to move forward, okay, to evolve into a MSSP or to build up such services, and you are looking for a partner to help you build up with that, and that's where we can come to help you. Okay, so I think that's come to my end of the session here. So just bear in mind, I mean, even if you have not been considering this DDoS is not waiting for you. So it's no longer the small, easy to mitigate kind of attacks that we're talking about anymore. Okay, DDoS continue to grow, and is your organization, is the country, okay, ready for the next generation of DDoS attacks? Okay, thank you.
Certainly, thank you, Donnie, for highlighting DDoS attack landscape worldwide and Nepal and bits and price attack. So, to move on, next session, it's a panel discussion. There should be security tools, there should be compliance, there should be awareness, there should be service level agreement to mitigate the threats. To moderate the panel discussion, I would like to call Mr. Hempal Shrestha, Legal and Knowledge Management Specialist, the panel discussion on how to create cybersecurity playbook to detect, prevent, and mitigate from the threats. Let's welcome Mr. Hempal Shrestha. Here.
अलिकति चेन्ज गरौँ र त्यसपछि हामी सुरु गर्नेछौँ. हामी अलमोस्ट अफ द टाइम छौँ. सो this panel session. As you, I'm also a bit not very clear. A technical presentation, a landscape presentation, followed by a technical presentation, and a discussion about the playbook. Playbook about how to create cybersecurity playbook to detect. I start with Jeremy Lee, Vice President for Sales, Nexusguard. Please be comfortable in the dash. Then may I request Samit Jana to please join us. He is the chair of NPNOC and also the CTO for Link Communication, one of the leading ISPs from Nepal. May I welcome Baburam Arial, who is the lawyer and with Delta Law Private Limited. Baburamji, please join us. And may I now invite Donnie Chong from Product and Marketing Director for Nexusguard. So before I begin in English, for the benefit of both the speakers here, this is interesting. म अलिकति नेपाली पनि बोल्न चाहे so that अलिकति हामी आफ्नै ल्याङ्ग्वेजमा कुरा गरौँ र बिचमा म अलिकति नेपाली पनि जान्छु so that without any कुनै disturbance नगरिकन उहाँहरूलाई. So I will be switching to Nepali in a while, for something. So please don't take it otherwise. Okay. So communicating on the local language also. For the benefit of the audience and the topic itself. So let me start with this. यहाँ हामी bankers. Let's actually happen. So I'm talking about how many of us are bankers here. Bankers only? That's all. Vikram, I don't see your hand. You are a banker. Okay. The non-techies bankers. Okay. Telcos, please. Please, because this will help us to shape the discussion. So telcos, please, can I see the hands? Okay. And maybe ISPs? Okay. That's great. Lots of hands. Okay.
Lots of market.
Somebody from pure business? Obviously, I think I can see the. Okay, there is one. Okay, some scattered. So, if we see the audience today, it's a combination of almost the telcos, the bankers, and if I see the name list here, so it's both like this. So, let me start with a little bit background later. So, whenever any incident happen, well, incident doesn't happen, an event happen, right? And it turns to an incident. So, कुनै पनि एउटा घटना दुर्घटना हुनु भन्दाखेरि event which is adverse is an incident. नेपालीमा के भन्ने मलाई थाहा छैन, I don't know, we have to discuss it. Right? So, Samit ji, let me begin with Samit ji, and in this background, you incident response threat, your playbook bhane ke ho, what exactly it is, and how do you start with that detecting, preventing, and mitigating, and obviously, not having the first services denial, it didn't happen. Samit ji, let me, maybe probably I'll start with 2 or 3 minutes startup on this issue, and then probably ask a major, mostly questions or feedback or requests. We have around 35-40 minutes to arrange one set timing. Samit ji, may I start with you?
Thank you, Nepal. And thank you, Nexusguard, for inviting me here as a panelist. So, Nepal, its question is, what is security playbook with NREN?
What is exactly this playbook?
I don't know. Okay. So basically, from my understanding, in fact, I have not gone through exactly what the topic is also. So we just had a brief conversation with Nepal that what is actually a security playbook. So from my understanding, basically from this event today, actually, what we are trying to do is just to discuss how the security landscape look like at present in telco, ISP, and industry segment, and just discuss actually how we can prevent, mitigate going forward in future if we are not doing it now, right? Because normally what happens is this security is always a low priority for everyone, right? Unless and until it happens. When it happens, it's a top priority. When it doesn't happen, nobody cares. It's like earthquake, right? So if there's earthquake happening, everybody just start running off. But when everything is planned, there's no earthquake, there's no preparedness at all. So security is always like this, right? Even for my company, it's like this, right? So we had a lot of US attack, we had lots of website hacking incident that had happened in the past. Of course, I would like to explain that to you how we mitigated those incidents. But actually, we are also not prepared. And if we are also being a leading ISP, internet service providers, saying that not prepared, and assuming that others are also in the same boat. Right? So I think rather than me recommending, how the cybersecurity playbook or the guidelines, or you can say that this common packages should be enforced or implemented throughout the organization, ISPs and telco, I think it's a collaborative effort, right? So I think we all need to come up with the we all need to come up actually discuss what are the kind of threats that we have, right? Let's assess what is the threat level that we have, right? So one of the slides that Vivek ji has presented, it shows that for an Asian region, the cybersecurity is number 5. Maybe in Nepal it's number 100. Right? So it depends on the economy of the country. It depends on the size, scale of the organization. It depends upon the requirement, how much you give a priority to security, right? Because for my organization, it could be financial, right? For some other organization, it could be some other things. For a bank, maybe it will be a top priority. So it varies depending upon the type of organization. So that's all I have to say.
So, Donnie, may I come to you now, right? So after listening to Samit, if we understand, so there are, for any security, there is platform, there is process, and there is people. And probably we are talking something about partnership also. Where does this playbook, what exactly is it? Is it just the IS policy having some specialized, protocols or, sorry, not the protocols, rules and responsibilities or something like that. How does it goes? What is the experience of how an institution like a telcos or a bank or an ISP really, or any other business which is depending on our IT infrastructure, basically develop, builds or execute their security playbook?
Yeah. So I think first to address my opinion what a playbook is. So there are a lot of different kind of playbooks. So it can be a broad-based, security playbook. So in Nexusguard, we deal a lot with cybersecurity playbook. So we advise a lot of our customers as well. So not that we are the principal on it, because there's a lot of knowledge on the internet. You can go to sense.org, you can go to NIST and stuff like that. But basically, in my opinion, a playbook would be to address a couple of things. So the first thing would be instance classifications and identifications and stuff like that. Number two is the response. In the case when an incident happens, how you can respond. And then last but not least, the establishment of a communications protocol, what to do, who should you contact, who are the people they call and stuff like that. So a playbook generally covers these few aspects. But I think I like to use what Mr. David has shared, more like crown jewels. So basically it kinds of sums it up, in your playbook what you should do. Identify what you are important, and then attach a risk level to it. And then make sure the whole organization agrees that that should be the risk level. And then after that, establish a response on what you should do in event of all those incidents. And then last but not least, evaluate your options, whether you're going to do it in-house or you're going to work with a third-party vendor. So all these steps are important. And I think just now, Mr. mentioned also very important is risk. It's different for everybody. So it's important for the entire organization to do this exercise together. And that's where the partners can come to help to make sure that, when you agree on something, this is a medium risk. Make sure everybody agrees. This is high risk. Make sure everybody agrees. For example, in the ISP world, to a network operating center, availability, connectivity is high priority. So to the finance, low priority maybe, because they don't care. So, but this is the example, but it's important that once everybody agrees on this risk, then they can come up with a respective response. And the response is where Nexusguard comes in. So in our very specific case, when it comes to cybersecurity, usually customers that come to us, they already agree that cybersecurity is an important risk. They can come to us after when they are on fire. We will also say that, but it's usually be too late. But when the customer that comes to us, they already have a budget. They already have a department, they have a CISO or a CIO that wants to take care of this. They have identified the items, and then they kind of know what they want to do. And that's where we come in, we will actually work with them. We will provide the third-party support point of view. In the event that this happens, we will come in. This is our escalation process. How does it fit well with the playbook? So we will look at their playbook and then see how our processes and our escalation can match their playbook. And this is probably from my point of view as a vendor, how we help and work with customers to establish their playbook.
So let me come to Jeremy. As Ronnie is saying, incident, a response, and a communication, and probably a rehearse or doing it, assessing the risk and coming on. As your presentation just represented, Nepal stands on the 4th list, just above Nigeria even, with 30 or something percentage of malicious. So where does Nepal stand? And if we have to develop some playbook or something like that, if now moving on, what is exactly the way ahead? How should we move ahead? Obviously risk is there, the threats are already there, the data are there, as you say 30% some malicious softwares are there in the mobile devices, which has now in a way become a critical infrastructure for almost all the professionals working throughout. What is the way out, and what are the roles of the different stakeholders in this playbook? How do we run? How do we play this whole ecosystem? Your insights. All right.
So actually around the role and around the region, over here the statistics may be saying that Nepal is 31%, quite high on the penetration infection kind of statistics. But that does not mean that countries that are very low in the statistics are not doing a lot to from a risk management perspective. Why I say that is because a lot of the other countries around the region that I'm operating in have put in place, right, a lot of the facilities by the service providers, by the government, and by MSS providers to allow enterprise customers to come into their facility to do what we call by-go cleaning. So they have all the equipment in there and let them do a drill test with the red team and the blue team and let them try how they will respond when they are under attack. And this is becoming more and more standard across the region because governments and enterprise are starting to understand that whatever you do, you'll be compromised eventually. So the focus is now that how do I then work with a team and a organization to help us to recover faster. So this is actually the focus. And when you have this as a core belief, right, then when you build your whole people process technology, it will be very different versus you build your whole team around a belief that my equipment that I bought is not going to be broken down, right? So basically, this is the core of it. With that in mind, right, a lot of the attacks actually that as I'm going out to all my customers, the only thing I tell my customers that I guarantee you, thank you for signing the contract, and the only thing I guarantee you is that you'll go down. And they'll look at me, I just pay you a lump sum money, why you're saying that? Yeah, but you got a good partner that will allow you to recover fast. And this is where we are coming here to actually partner with partners to be their level 3 support so that they can do that. In other organizations that have been practicing this playbook very effectively, one example, Hong Kong Stock Exchange, this is a story that is real life, right? They have got a lot of very good process put in place with the playbook in particular. So not only on the technology side, the detection, the prevention, but a small part of the whole playbook, mitigation, and eventually how you respond, right? It's actually a lot of work. So on the people side, what they actually go through to the extent is that there was one time where the Hong Kong Stock Exchange was brought down, and because they have already got a very established protocol and procedures discussed beforehand. So they know exactly if, let's say, the stock exchange goes on for 1-2 hours, which officer will have to come out to the public. They know that the PR team will have to go to the public, they will contact the press, and the COO is not there, who is the next escalation to approve the corporate comms to go to the public. So this is just a very small example. So they actually got all these things hashed out. And this people partner, nothing to do with technology, is actually a very complicated part to achieve. Because when you're dealing with people, dealing with different departments, and making the call, to call for press, to call for a shutdown, to call for call for a trade to be suspended across all the whole Hong Kong Stock Exchange, all these cross-department, and if the CEO is not around, who is the next command that will have the authority to approve. So all these are actually part of an entire framework that every organization needs to go through to discuss beforehand, because when in times of crisis, who is the one who will call? If the person is on vacation, then who is the next, right? So this is where some of the processes that we've seen that need to happen, despite whether your cyber sort of penetration rate is high on the ranking or low on the ranking. So people around the region are actively trying to improve their processes so that they have better risk control. Yeah.
So let me just, I'll pick up some of the points that you have already shared and come along. But before that, let me move to Balramji. Balramji, he talked about, adrenaline or a rehearsal on a blue or red team kind of thing. How much things on the legal framework right now is for us in Nepal? Is it legally feasible? Is it punishable, or is it just avoidable, or what is the status? And then I'll come back to the other stuffs that Jeremy has already said. And after a second round, I'll probably come with all the questions. So please, if you have questions, and if you do not have what to ask, you can pass me the paper also the question. Bye.
Thank you, Pati. What exactly whether it is possible or not, you ask. Unauthorized access, and if it is authorized, then it's legal. Let me talk about authorized. In authorized part as well, there are two levels. One is working at exactly the authorized level, and at another level, which person has authority, but misuses that beyond that authority. In that case, that is again unauthorized access. So there was some confusion among the law enforcement agency and government agency as well about whether like security trainings are lawful I remember one case in Mr. is here itself when there was some training programs at Lava and they had some discussion about whether the course was lawful or not, and then they talk about this thing. Then I say, unauthorized access, if it is under unauthorized access, then that's fine. If it harms someone, then that is unlawful. If it doesn't harm, then that is not against the law. But talking about denial of service attack, exactly in our legal pretext, our Electronic Transactions Act has not much scope about denial of service attack. And I've been talking since very long, and then our proposed IT bill has 2-3 relevant provisions which is directly related with DDoS attacks. And in our present context, even law enforcement agencies were very confused. I have one question for you. हामी मध्येको कसैले DDoS attack face गरेको छैन, whether we have faced any DDoS attack or not, and you had any loss because of that, and you ever reported that thing? You ever reported that thing to the law enforcement agency? What was the reason at least?
Because we know that nothing can be.
Because we are also not reporting in this kind of attacks. Law, maybe there is some ambiguity on law, but it protects from this or that clause of law. It protects. So, while talking about claiming or something like that, I have 2-3 issues to discuss. Preparedness. We talk about preparedness. Technical preparedness. We have been talking about this, some guard or something like that. And there is legal preparedness. Whether we have sufficient legal environment or not to protect our systems. And another thing is at the individual level, awareness kind of preparedness also should be there. And as Samit said, there are some business issues which is related with preparedness. All kind of, for example, for technical also, it requires business. I mean, some funding issues there. For awareness, again, who gonna fund this awareness? So these are the things that we need to involve in this. But while summarizing my part, current legal context is not much that friendly to protect DDoS attack from legal perspective, but still we can interpret differently into the context and in case, then we can go to the court.
Thank you, Avramji. So if I understand the whole context of discussion, I'm just switching between, so please don't take it. Otherwise, मैले बुझ्दाखेरि प्लेबुक भने चाहिँ मैले सफल गरिराख्नुभएको छ बिजनेस कन्टिन्युटी प्लान होस् अथवा आईएस पोलिसिज होला त्यसको एउटा चाहिँ
particular domain matter, who does what when something goes wrong in the IT infrastructure, and where and what time they do it, and what are the roles that they play. I think if that is a non-technical definition that if I could make out of the discussions, right? Now, coming to Samit sir, right? World Link ko धेरैवटा presentation ma tapaile चाहिँ World Link believes in जुगाड
technology, right? Everything that can be done can be done. So as Jeremy said, it's like we can ensure that when you fail, you will recover fast if you are us. That's what the commitment that Jeremy comes with from Nexusguard. So coming to Samit, and after this, I think if there is no link-up question, I'll go for the questions from the floor because I want this question to come from. So this question is here. Normally, when we say in a startup, fail early, fail often, fail forward, and do the jugaad. Does this works for you? And as Balaramji said, there is authorized and unauthorized access, and when you are looking up for red team and blue team from your own team or some external, does the ecosystem support you? Does it give you the space to do all the drills, rehearsal too? Does it give you all the innovation that you can do in jugaad? And also, failing forward is fine, but failing often is not. Failing early maybe yes.
Thank you, Balaramji. First to comment, I think one thing is missing is we talk about detection and mitigation, but we did not talk about how to prevent that. Right? So we did not talk about the best common practice that everyone need to follow, so that things doesn't happen. Right? So in our experience, also, I'm working for so long with the ISP. Right? What we tell is the best common practice is the most thing that is lacking. If you follow the best common practice, 99% is guaranteed that you are never going to have a problem. And the second thing is the awareness. You talk about awareness, right? So I'm a little bit going off because, but I'm saying this because I feel that it's important, right? Second thing I feel is awareness. I know that awareness is something that is not in our hand, right? But it has to be on a DNA of everyone. That everything that is connected to internet need to be secure, right? When we make our house, we always put a lock inside and outside. When you go inside home, you just switch on the lock. When you go outside, we put on a very big lock. Why? Because it's our DNA that when you make a house, the lock has to be there because we know that there could be a robbery or there could be threat when you are away. Right? Similarly, every individual who uses internet must be aware that if I am using internet, I am not secure. So I need to put lock in my iPhone, in my IoT device at home, any router, any appliance that's connected to internet. I think that is the most essential thing that is needed. Similarly, as an organization, that same care need to be with everyone, that we need to follow best common practice. And that is the key to mitigate anything. Now going back to your original question, can you just
with regard to the failure, the fail often.
Yes. So in my organization, actually, yes. So we, as I mentioned earlier, also we have also faced a couple of incidents, right? And we also faced a classic DDoS attack. Right? It happened 2 years back, and we all have also presented this. My technical guy has also presented this NP now first. That happened 3 years back also. So it was really nasty. It affected us almost for 3 days. Right? It's a DNS amplification fact that we faced. Right? So initially we don't know what happened, how DNS server went down. Right? We started seeing a lot of unauthorized DNS packet coming into our DNS network, and initially we found that it is being targeted to one particular website. It's called our network. It's a gaming site. So somebody is trying to attack that website, and there are a lot of bots within our network. So our subscribers' devices, home or office devices, is infected with the bots, and there is a controller. Someone is actually sending attacks to that particular website. But since we are ISP, we host a recursive DNS server. When we start seeing that there is an excessive request coming into our DNS server that is actually targeted to our network, we blocked it, and it was indicated. But soon, next day, what happened is the random queries start coming in. So it's not ARPANET, it was ARPANET.1, .2, .3, .4. So randomly comes. Then it becomes more difficult, right? So you can filter only particular domain or IP address, but when it is start randomizing, then it's very almost impossible. There is no way you can do, right? Unless and until you have something in place that can scrub, that has a human intelligence that can actually identify, or you can say artificial intelligence or machine learning capabilities that can identify the bad packets and good packets and only allow the good packets. So those kind of capabilities not there for us. So eventually what we did is, eventually we ended up enforcing a rate limit in our daily subscriber. So we actually rate limited DNS traffic from, for example, a subscriber is connected, subscriber in a 10 Mbps connection. So if you don't have a rate limit, then it can block 10 Mbps at a time. Right? One customer can. So what we did is we rate limited the DNS traffic to 32 Mbps for every subscriber, and that's what worked, and that's what saved us. Right? So as a learning, right, for experience, we still today we actually don't allow DNS traffic to absorb the full pipe, right? So if the customer is subscribing 10 Mbps, we give them only 120 Mbps of DNS, so that because in the normal browsing or normal application uses, you don't need that much of DNS traffic. We know that. So only when there is some kind of DDoS attacks being executed, then only it needs that kind of pipe. So if any customer is complaining that he's having a slow internet or he's having a problem with his name resolving, then we know that there is something wrong in his pipe. And we measure the pipe and we see that the DNS pipe only is full. Then we can actually take action. So that is how actually we learned, and since then it has never happened. So this is one of the experience that I would like to share.
So two things, best practices and obviously awareness, but while prevention precaution. So that's not like fully prevention, precaution. So precaution measures. Question. So we have 4 different expertise here on the dais. I'm expecting a lot of questions. We are around 23 minutes down with the time, so time condition. So is there any questions, particular questions? If you can be short and sweet, that would be so nice, but if you want to take 1 minute or 60 seconds, that would be also okay, because that's an expertise room here. Any questions? Okay, please.
Okay, my question would be for Mr. Samit, as he's from Orbi Communications. My question would be, instead of each organization protecting ourselves from DDoS, can, as an internet service provider, they can provide us mini internet where we are protected from.
Okay, thank you. If there are any other questions, I'd like to take 2 or 3 questions in one go so that we can.
TRAI, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, please contact them. But that was in Nepal. Already, as I think Donnie mentioned internet supply chain. In different part of the internet supply chain also, there are a lot of different kind of attacks, and we need to address at different layers as well, not only at the layer of a single ISP, rather than import gate also is very important. If it is already connected, it's very difficult for low ISPs to protect that.
Treatment is very discussed these days from environment law perspective, but clean internet, I think it's not that level of possibility that, I don't know, I might be wrong.
So, thank you. On the way, if there are any questions, okay, there is one, we can take that, Mike, please. You have a question or answer? You have a question for Samit?
No, I have a question with Jeremy or Tony.
Okay, please go ahead. And I'll can someone please, yeah, Samit, please continue.
From a service provider as a customer perspective, and you the security solution provider perspective, so what kind of evolution that Nexusguard is doing in terms of detecting and mitigating the attack? I just saw the Downstream presentation that you are moving towards edge, and I also saw a few words of software-defined networking. In that domain, what are the new things that is coming up in order to mitigate those DDoS attacks within a service provider or enterprise network? Because it's no more just a layer 3 attack, right? It's going to the application layer 7. So you should be, if you are doing it over a firewall, the firewall should have a capability of doing a layer 7 filtering also, right? But that small box will not have intelligent enough or enough resources in order to detect that and mitigate that automatically. So there should be a technology where there is a controller outside which will do the all kind of analysis, and it will actually applying the filter as on needed. When it detects that there is some kind of attacks involved somewhere on memories. So does Nexusguard is actually on that state or not?
So just to add a little bit load on that, not only mitigate but detecting also. What's the evolution? So that is one question. And there is another question coming. Is there a question from? Yeah, please. And if there is any third question, please. I think this is the last round. So,
Namaste everyone. I'm Chiranjeev Adhikari. My question goes to Mr. Samit Jana, sir. Samit sir. When there is DDoS attack on your network, why as a user, I have to call your NOC and inform them there is no active monitoring of your network in our place. Please.
Okay, very particular question. I guess any more questions? Any more questions? I think this was the last question for this evening. Please, there is one. Okay.
Good evening. I'm System Sir, IT Director from the Department of Transport Management. My question goes to the Jeremy and also to me. One is the why only discuss only the DDoS attacks, as there are a number of attacks and threat in the current internet part. Second question goes to the Sumit, who is especially responsible for the DDoS attacks? Because we are getting the service from the ISP. Why not be charged for that ISP? Is it true or not? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so three questions, one from Samit to Jeremy and Tommy, one from Chiranjeevi, and one from Srijan Saji. So, Samit, you want to answer first, or let me ask the gentleman to continue and you can start. Okay? Jeremy, over to you.
Maybe I'll take the questions about the scope of the discussion. Actually, when it comes to cybersecurity, it's actually a very wide scope. I come from the industry first from the protection at the endpoint level, and then move into a protection on the advanced threat where they try to hide inside your systems for a very long time. And then eventually right now is defending at the forefront. So when it comes to, earlier on we also talked about risk assessment and getting a partner that can help you to recover as much as possible. It's actually talking about recovering from every single kind of possible threat and attack. DDoS being only a very small part of the whole equation. And so in this particular equation, right, there is no one vendor or provider that can prevent everything. And that is why a lot of the providers globally have started to evolve into a managed security provider. So give you one example. So the tier 1 providers of America like Verizon, AT&T, the big boys in Asia like the NTT, even Singtel recently, they all start moving into that arena by acquiring cybersecurity managed companies. So for example, NTT buys managed data, Singtel buys trust, and so on and so forth. So it shows that as the part that you mentioned about is how is telco involved in the overall protection of the end users consumers. The short answer is it's actually quite impossible and also unfair for the service provider to say that I protect you from everything. But partnering with many multiple partners and solutions out there, they can then therefore offer their consumers a better range of solutions and partners so that they can then help the customers recover faster. So this is sort of a new trend. That's why a lot of these service providers are moving into that arena, transforming their network operations center into a cybersecurity operations center. And myself have been involved in helping one of them in Asia, the largest one in ASEAN, to transform even their cybersecurity operations center into an advanced cybersecurity center. So this is the evolution that's happened in this ever-changing evolution. So with that, the customers then have more choice and options to defend themselves.
I think I have a most difficult question to answer. Anyway, I will try. So to answer this gentleman question that why as a subscriber is not protected by ISP. So by the concept of providing as Bhagavan also suggested that there is no such concept of providing a clean pipe or bad pipe. ISP just provide pipe. Right? We actually do not see what end user is using. Right? So we actually legally also I think if I'm not wrong, we cannot do that. We cannot treat any packets. Some packets have higher priority and some packets lower priority. But from our own knowledge, right? ISP discrete. We cannot filter any contents. We cannot do that. Unless and until if a customer specifically asks for it, we cannot do that. We do not tamper or analyze or even see what packets are coming in. We are not authorized to do that. Number one question. If some customer asks for that services, if some customer needs, for example, the gentleman from Sierra say that whether that service is there or not, as of now, no, there is no such kind of services offered by any ISP Nepal. But going forward, that's going to come. If the subscriber want that service, we will be able to provide. Right? So, but as of now, we can't do anything. Even though I will just disclose that with rate limit DNS traffic to this level, that is also we are not authorized, but we have to do that to protect the network and protect the customers also. And to answer Mr. Chiranjeevi's questions, I think what we need to understand is, we all need to understand is security. When you talk about security, it's always best resort. There is no guarantee. There is no SLA of security. Am I right? There is no SLA. When I ask the provide service, they say that 99.9% secure, 5.9 secure. But there are no such SLA in security. It's always best before basis. Right? So that means nobody can guarantee how secure your network is. Right? Second thing is, when there is, what you need to understand is, DDoS attack is a light earthquake. So you need to understand that it's a nightmare situation. You don't even want to think about DDoS attack. You should not. And when it happens to DNS, it's a disaster. It's a 9 magnitude earthquake hitting in an ISP, right? So in that situation, for example, we may also have experience of earthquake. During that time, are we able to make calls? No, right? So similarly, when the DDoS attacks happen in ISP, there is no way an ISP can respond for so many customers and send the notification that, okay, my network is in DDoS attack, please be calm and patient, we're going to mitigate in this house. No, because we don't know, right? So that's what I have to say, that when the DDoS attack happened, it's a nightmare situation for ISPs, and we will be helpful at that time.
So, anything you want to add?
Yeah, so to come to his defense, so mitigating DDoS is, although DDoS attacks can be simple in nature and in principle, it is something that is very cost inefficient, for a single party to take on. We talk about bandwidth. So in Nepal, you talk about IP transit. If you buy IP transit from Airtel or Tata, maybe you guys know the price better, $2 to $3 per meg, maybe higher, maybe lower. When the DDoS attack strikes, okay, the question is, can Boeing carry that 1 terabits of traffic for me? I mean, it's a financial answer. They will never be able to carry. Technically, they don't have this pipe. And financially, if they carry this pipe, they're supposed to pay Airtel and Tata that amount of money. So, in a way, there is going to be a financial cap. That's why, when it comes to the DDoS problem, it's a cloud problem. It has to be dealt in a way whereby people are designed to do this. I'm not trying to showcase my business here, but I'm not trying to peddle my service, but how Nexusguard and customers, people like us can do it is because through economies of scale, because we have a large network, so we have about 2 terabits of traffic that we monetize and then create services to our customers. Therefore, we can do it. But in an ISP world, every Mbps is a resource that they can sell. They cannot afford to reserve those capacity to save you. So it's kind of like, in a way, it's a different business nature altogether. That's what I want to say. So it's not that they don't want to do it, but it just doesn't make financial sense for them to do it at this point in time. Or maybe the capability has to be upgraded.
So I think as we are going on, so Baburamji has some response to the questions, but I would also request Baburamji to start summation.
I think my question answered. I am still waiting on one question.
Oh, there is one. So yeah.
So without going too much into the technical details, Nexusguard has been in the market for 10 years. So since 2014, we developed our own mitigation stack. So we don't use those off-the-shelf devices. We don't buy devices. So our network equipment come from Cisco, Juniper, but our mitigation stack is written from zero ground up for the purpose of DDoS mitigation. So our team of 100 over developers in Asia does nothing but do that. So in a lot of evolutions, I think I can spend half a day to talk about it, but basically there are going to be a few initiatives. The first initiative is moving towards a behavioral base. It's something that people have been talking for a long time. In the world of DDoS, okay, where the most common way of mitigating is by anomaly detection thresholds. When 10 was normal, 20 is not normal. This was the most standard way of mitigating. So, for example, when he's talking about his DNS queries, obviously they agree that at 32 Kbps of DNS traffic, that's abnormal. So that is the most basic way of detecting attacks. But then, as we see that attack scripts are becoming more complex, and these are not now coming from real machines, real IP addresses, the threshold detection is now no longer possible. So what we need to do is what we call AI-based, or in simple term, auto-baselining or auto-mitigation, whereby the machine, okay, can now dynamically try to understand the patterns of the traffic, okay, and move beyond just threshold-based. So you have to be adaptive, and then you have to look at signatures and provide tools for our human beings. The most important part is our SOC, okay. Tools can only do so much because these attacks are created by humans. You know, the counterparts to our SOC engineers, these hackers, they create attacks to bypass. For example, the simple mechanism that Worley has implemented to mitigate the attack can be changed. I can come up with hundreds of ways to bypass that filter. He knows it. He's just lucky that the attacker did not evolve 2 years ago. But right now, there are so many tools that can evolve to launch this. So part of our initiative is to make sure that our attacks, our detection is contextual. It's not just threshold-based, so that we can also identify the bit and piece attack that we talk about, okay, to evolve, right, to continue to collect traffic. That's one way. The other initiative that we have is more on the performance. I mentioned the edge computing. We want to be able to, through our partners, reach our network so that we can deliver the services much more effectively to our customers. Generally, I mean, I just want to put this in terms of detection. We will speed up our capability and through our own interaction with customers and our big data. So we collect, we also maintain our own IP reputation because we have done nothing but see DDoS attacks. So we have a very big database of dirty IP addresses. Okay, like for example, the subdomain botnet, the attack that took out DNS, for example, we've already had a collection of those IP addresses in our system. Okay, but of course, these are used for research purposes. We have our honeypots around the world to collect the attack signatures, so that if ever we want to do a backward study of these attacks, we can go back into our database to extract this. And this is where all we're coming to actually provide information that we can deliver to our customers.
So besides just absorbing, do you also support after detecting an anomaly or detecting a signature? Do you also have a capability to do a program with Juniper or Cisco router in order to do the filtering?
So to a certain extent, we do flow spec as well. So if you want to do flow spec, we can do that. But it's not just about filtering. So we don't do absorb. So Nexusguard doesn't absorb the traffic. So what we do is we scrub it. So traffic that comes through our scrubbing center, we look at the patterns, okay, and then we drop the traffic, and then only the clean traffic will be passed back to you. Okay, so that's not absorption. The second part of the question was the solution is designed that we are at the edge. Okay, so the traffic will first come to Nexusguard, and then we will pass that traffic back to you. So your routers would no longer, your infrastructure are not passed into any location. However, there is another kind of service that we do is more like detection. We provide just detection. And then with detection, we can pass on rules to your router. For flow spec, for example, we can do a flow spec with our BGP routers to do maybe dropping a particular text. That can also happen. But of course, when we are delivering a service, I'm sure you don't want to carry all the traffic on the routers. And then your routers can only run so many rules. You don't want to use your routers. In our experience, ISPs usually don't want to use their core routers to do any rules and stuff like that. They use it to address routers. So there are many different ways that Nexusguard works with CSPs, different kinds, because there are different kind of designs. There's no two ISPs that design the same way. So work with us, we'll come up with the best solution for you.
Thank you, Tony. So let me now come to kind of summation and summarization, and I'll start with Balkanji also with answering the question. My summation question will be to be ready to play and to prevent, precaution, or whatever, what are the top three things from a legal perspective for an organization like a telcos, a banker, or an IT-enabled services? What are the three top, 1, 2, 3, that you would recommend to be there in your framework? And I will continue this question with all the three and as a submission also. So, Balkanji, over to you.
Thank you, Nepalji. Just I would like to intervene on one question, whether the particular ISP is liable or not. Just Jamil also referring on that. Only Mayor providing the service, service providers are not liable, because there are lots of guns, and guns producers are not liable only because of producing guns. If it is misused by someone, it's a different thing. But they are trusted third party. They cannot have deep inspection on the content, because they have to maintain their trusted third party role, and that's why they are intermediaries. At the level of intermediaries, they have their own principle. Basically, the Mandela principle we used to call is applicable in this third party responsibility. And on summary question by you, the moderator, let's build this ecosystem, also focusing a robust legal ecosystem. Going to law enforcement agency, building like swords like this, ITSERT and these are agencies are part of this ecosystem. And when we prepare this ecosystem, when we have a good law, when we have a good practice of law as well, only making a good law is not enough. We are not reporting, then what is the use of that good law? So you have to come to report to the law enforcement agency as well. So if we build this ecosystem robust, then we can protect from this kind of attacks. Thank you.
Over to Tony. So same questions. What are the top three things to create an executable playbook?
So I'm going to speak on stability again. So first step is to identify your assets which are important to you, and then communicate. And then of course, inclusive of the step is to communicate, make sure that this risk register is the same across organizations, get them to agree on it. Second is to create the responses. Okay, in the event, okay, these assets, have incidents, classify the levels of incidents, low, medium, and high. And in the low incident perspective, what you'll do. Okay, medium and incident, what we'll do, high incident, what we'll do. Okay, after that, then you attach a solution to it. This solution can be in-house or it can be third party. Okay, so identify, create a response, and find a solution for it. And then last but not least, to evaluate and practice it. So this is my recommendation for what immediately you can do in your position.
So there are four from here. So to add on what Balaji already said and Donnie has already said, so I will again like to based on practices that we all, every individual, every organization, and the policy maker, everybody need to follow that based on practices. And besides that, I would like to stress on periodic audits. So it's not that you have a policy in place and you implement based on practice. You also need to audit whether it's being implemented in reality or not, right? Second, the last thing is doing the drills, right? So we forgot to do drills, right? So in banks also, I think they have a policy to have to drill for the disaster recovery or for the data. So I think security drills also need to be conducted along with the best common practices and what I say. Yes, so but it's periodic audited, perhaps.
Thank you. So, Jeremy, finally, what's your top three?
So, just to summarize the whole discussion, I think the first fundamental thing is to understand and to identify that nothing is going to be 100% foolproof. Things are bound to break. This is the fundamental. And then when you build your team around this core principle, things will be right. Once you have this in place, I think the next thing eventually is to surround yourselves with people and partners that know what they're doing, so that in terms of trouble, you can always turn to somebody for support and help and get your services and company up as fast as possible. So I think that's all I want to summarize for.
So two, thank you. So this I may just try to see the whole discussion. I think how we started from a playbook which is a very nominal, a very ordinary name for us, but when we talk about cybersecurity to detect, prevent, or mitigate, or even precaution method, so we see that the drills to identification is important, and then a robust legal ecosystem, identifying the assets, communicate the risk factors, attach solution to it, evaluate the action that has been done, and as Samit is constantly saying best practices, how do we address that best practices, and then periodic audits, doing drills, that's important, I guess, and understand. And what Jeremy has been, I guess, consistently saying, let's understand the core principle that nothing is 100% secure, and identify the assets. And one throughout the 1 hour 59 minutes discussion that has come out, what Jeremy finally said is, just connect or identify the people and partners and what they are doing and how you can get the support. That would be nice to understand. So overall discussion, how do we basically respond, not only response but prepare. This is a discussion to be continued, probably it will continue during the networking sessions also, but this is the good initiations, and I would like to thank the organizers for hosting this and giving me this audience to talk to this, and thank you again, and thank you to all the panelists for initiating this thought-provoking discussion. Thank you. Over to
Sir, don't allow access to unauthorized. So if you consider the situation, for example, let's suppose I am working as a software developer program. For me, the main goal is to make the software user-friendly, secure, and reliable to each device. What I mean by not reliable, to comply to each device. For example, if you have to search anywhere from mobile, it should be look like good. If you want to search your website,
In laptop, it should be like good, or desktop, it should be like it. So, considering these things, what I want to mention over here, once you want to user-friendly and talk about the security, they are not directly proportional, they are inversely proportional. If you increase security, means you are decreasing user-friendly. Because you have to put lot of parameters in order to identify the authorized user. So, without going to detail, because we have a lot of things written from there, I just mentioned some things which they forget during their presentation. For example, considering our country. If you see, they show there the Asian countries. Among of them Asian countries, they mentioned 4 South Asian countries. As we know, the SARC had 8 members, but among the 4, we are third one by security. For example, one is only worse than us, which is Bangladesh. If you see our security threats, as during their presentation, they showed that in mobile devices, it is near about 64%, I think. And in computer and server, near about 31 point something or 33 point something, and 7 point something like a switch, how in big things. If you consider that generally we government people say that generally during the mass, if you launch these services digitally compatible to mobile devices, because the mobile penetration is very high in our country. So we have done it very successfully. But after seeing this data, I have to say that, okay, we are going to launch it compatible to mobile device as well, but we have to be more secure. So these things are we have to consider. And the security, we don't want to compromise it. If you see the DOIT also have some sort of NP cert, this is especially responsible for the GOV domain. Similarly, currently in the ministry, they also established cyber monitoring center. What are the government doing? These are the things I mentioned. Similarly, if you see our ICT policy, they are also mentioned about the security. Similarly, if you see the current digital framework, we are also talking about over there this type of things. But talking is too much. What are we are implementing? The main things, whoever, either is the CSP, or is the ISP, or it is the any kind of service developer, I mean in terms of software, if they find any type of symptoms of any kind of attacks, not only DDoS, what I would suggest that we have to share. At least if you share, maybe share with your friends, share with your government, then it will be very easy for us to tackle them. If you don't share, try by yourself. It depends upon your personal and your institutional capability. If you share it, it will be going to build your institutional capability, maybe which is very intelligent one in regard to the security, and it will help us better than anything else. In last, thank you for the thank you Nexus guys for giving us some idea about your product. I think your product is especially, as it mentioned, I just go through your website and found that the software API as well as, but particularly focusing more on the DDoS as well as the network resources. And similarly, our ITSERT inviting me, giving me a platform to share something. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lakshmi sir. Now, I would like to request Mr. Dev and Mr. Joint Secretary, Ministry of Communication and Information Technology, for giving some valuable remarks.
Thank you. First, I will say Namaste and Good evening. Good night. Good evening. Okay, good evening. I would like to thank to Nexusguard and all supporting organizer groups that invited me to say something here. First, I would like to tell about from the government part. We have ICT, National ITERT now, National IT Emergency Response Team, that consists of several related agencies and as well as the steering committee, now just established as Director General Mr. Lakshmi Prasad Yadav told that Ministry has set up the National Cyber Security Monitoring Center, and this will be like root cert. National cert or root cert you can say, and it will be connected or integrated with the sectoral cert, that is domain specific cert. This is the policy decision made by cabinet. And another things we also, because this is very serious things, we always all users wish to be safe. We all are users, and for this one, I think Asia Pacific Telecom he also has commitment in the next 5 years to the main agenda, that is digital trust. So for the digital trust is the one prime thing is every country has to set up this cyber security monitoring center, and all related agencies should be connected with this one. So the government is also very serious regarding this one, and we have also very MRP, tax system, custom, and others, the same type of serious system that we should be safe, as they all are online system. And in this regard, our Honorable Minister, Ministry of Communication, IT and Secretary, and as well as all the government and even the international agencies, they all think how to make it effective. For this one, in the next year, we have the capacity development program also, and we are also looking for this type of Nexusguard. And what is this? Actually, I am unfortunate that I was not here to listen the panel discussions. I lost that opportunity. But anyway, now we have, after this one, we have like networking, we have informal communication with all related guys. Then I think it will be helpful for me as well as to our country and as well as to the government of Nepal to upgrade and set up high-end solutions in the cyber security monitoring center. So again, I would like to thank to the organizer to invite me and give me opportunity to share this knowledge and ideas with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, very much, sir. Now we are about to this closing session, and before moving on to closing session, there is a session of distribution of token of appreciation. To distribute the token of appreciation, I'd like to call Mr. Rajan Das from the chair of this event. Sir, please. And to take the token of appreciation. I'd like to call Mr. Virendra Mishra, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Communication and Information Technology. Let's give him a big hand. Similarly, I would like to request Mr. Lakshmi Prasad Yadav, Director General, DOIT, Nepal Government. Kusal Reddy, General Secretary, ITSERT-NP. I think he has another program. So I will call Mr. Vikram Shrestha, Treasurer, ITSERT-NP, and President, Nepal Internet Foundation. Let's give him a big hand. Thank you, Rajan sir. Now, to present another token of appreciation, I would like to request Mr. Virendra Mishra sir. Virendra sir, please come here to present token of love to our speakers. Vivek Rana. Sir, please, Vivek Rana, Principal Consultant, IT Security and Risk Management.
Yes, security labs बंद कर गया था वहाँ को मलाई दूँगा
Let's give him a big hand. Similarly, I would like to call Mr. Jeremy Lee, Vice President, Sales Nexusguard. Mr. Tony Chong, Product and Marketing Director, Nexusguard. Please give him a big hand. And myself, Mr. Amaraj Bhandari. Thank you, Mr. Virendra sir. And to present the token of appreciation to moderator and panelist, I would like to call Mr. Lakshmi Prasad Yadav sir. He is also chairperson of ITSERT, and followed by this, there is a networking and cocktail dinner. We have outside the hall, and myself, Amaraj Bhandari, the supporting organization from Nepal Internet Foundation, will also leading this program, and thank you.
Thank you, Amaraj. The guest from the Nexusguard, Joint Secretary from Ministry of Innovation and Communication Technology, our DC, Director General, and all the valuable participants. I am very much happy to address over here about this, how to protect the networks and downstreams from DDoS attacks. Actually, these are after the sequence contains and the discussions, I thought this could have been organized by the ISP or the NREN. This is very relevant for them, but even though we are also here to help them, and we have done these things. ITSERT-NP was established in 2014 with the aim of as a community shirt, and it was working with the government and the banks also. We have done the very first conference is a very good conference that time in the 2015. So before establishing the any concept of the shirt in the Nepal, we had established the ITSERT-NP, the community shirt. And we have taken some members from the banks also, and from reputed other organizations also. So this is the basic concept of this is that how to handle the incident and how to aware the people or organizations about the different incidents of the cyber security. Now, cyber, if you see the cyber attacks now, recently I saw the one news in the study only. I have some members of the US also, I got our notifications that the day before yesterday night there was a DDoS attack in the VLC media. You know the VLC media? So VLC media had some DDoS attacks in the media. So their writing was the name among these attacks. Suddenly I found in the morning is that statistics have decreased by the 5.4 because they claim that this is not with the out-of-band systems, but it was in some library systems where it has been attacked. But they committed that it was the attacks. So there was one statement in the 2012, I always remember from the CEO of the Semantic. He said, you are always safe when you are not connected. If you are connected, you don't think that you are safe. See, always remember that. That's why when you are connected, you have to take a lot of precautions. And we have discussed in the analysis time also and the presentation also the precautions of prevention is better than the what. And even though we have for the health also, we always used to say that prevention is better than cure. Now, one thing is in the question and answer sessions, I like the question set asked by the Mr. Rupesh that why people have attacked when there is no financial gain. It's a very interesting questions because somebody may be testing their capabilities, somebody might be doing the funding, somebody might be thinking that this part analysis is bad. So they may be thinking about some researchers may be thinking about that. If I started with these things, can I do other things? So there might be testings, a lot of things are here. Because of my dream when I was a controller, I reported to the government also at that time. So there should be our threat monitoring center, which was now converted to the cyber security monitoring center and under the ministry of the ministry. This is very good things where you can put all the things and can monitor the web. Now, I would like to thanks, I don't want to take much more time, so I would like to thanks that the Nexusguard who had accepted our request and given us opportunity to organize this program. By this we could have aware some more about the DDoS attacks and the education also. And I would like to thanks, in spite of the very busy schedule, our Joint Secretary, Mr. Priya Kumar Mishra, and our Director General, Mr. Rajashri Prasad Yadav, sir, has given spend the time over here. And speakers like Vivek Rana, Tom Lee, Tom, panelists, Samit Chana, Bhavra Maria, and the most important is that all the participants who had, they choose our program instead of their Good Friday. So now I really thank for them to give the opportunity us to have a Good Friday over here. So by this, I would like to also thank Nepal Internet Foundations and the technical support NREN, and request all of you to join us our networking dinner and make this Good Friday really Good Friday. Thank you.